Hi, Roven here. Welcome to my channel. Today is the 31st of December 2025. So if you're watching this today, Happy New Year. So this is just a short video about this pedalboard rig. It's battery powered, it's wireless, and it's MIDI controlled. So let's run down each individual component that makes up this board. Starting off with the pedalboard. I'm using the Rockboard Duo 2.1. I have other videos on my YouTube channel where I had the Duo 2.2 and I find it very wide to my taste for a smaller board. So I opted for the Duo 2.1 for this build. It's not that wide and it's just enough to fit two boss size pedals and a single pedal. So underneath the board, everything is powered by the Falken 1 mega power bank. And what's good about this is it's a power bank in and of itself. So what I did was I attached a small power bank to kind of double the battery capacity of the Falken 1. So this accepts USB-C charging input as well. So I'll take you over to the Thomann product page real quick. So this is the Falken Mega Power Bank. So what you can see here, it has 6 9-volt outputs that combined can output 2000 milliamperes, and you have one 9-volt or 12-volt 1500 milliamperes output, and you also have an 18-volt 450 milliampere output. So this power bank, it can also output 5-volt 2 amperes USB-C to charge your devices if you need it. But as I've mentioned, it can also charge at the side, so it has an input charge port here. So this is how you charge the power supply. So essentially this is a power supply, but it has a built-in battery as well. So taking you back to the board, so I'm not a professional pedalboard builder, obviously. So zip tied everything that I can. When I'm building a board, I have 3 things in mind. So first and foremost, power. Can I power everything in my board using my power supply? Second is audio or audio cables. And then the third is USB. So sometimes I put a small USB hub where I connect everything else. But in this board, I'm only focusing on power and audio. So bringing you back to the top of the board. So the first pedal is the Line 6 HX Stomp. So this is a power hungry device. This needs 9 volts, 800 milliamperes. So what I did was to combine 2 outputs of the Falken 1. So this now receives 9 volts, 1000 milliamperes. The second pedal is the Eventide H90. Again, this is a power hungry device. It needs 9 volts, 1000 milliamperes or 12 volts, 500 milliamperes. So again, what I did was I combined 2 outputs from the Falken 1, and now this receives 9 volts, 1000 milliamperes. So the third and the last pedal here is the NUX B-8. So this is just a wireless guitar system. So this is the receiver and this is the transmitter. It just snaps in magnetically. And then the last pedal here again is the Mvave. So this is just a MIDI controller that I connect to the HX Stomp. And then this recharges via USB-C here. So that's for the power. And now moving on to the signal chain. So this is relatively simple because I only have 2 pedals. My guitar plugs in here in the input of the NUX B-8 if I want it to be wired, or I can plug my guitar here. Just a pro tip for NUX B-8 users here watching: buy this adapter here. So when you plug your guitar, it's not sticking out like that. Instead, it'll be flat when you plug your guitar. So that's where my guitar comes in, and my signal goes from the NUX B-8 to the input of the HX Stomp here. And then I have the H90 inside the HX Stomp FX loop. And so the HX Stomp is essentially the brains of my operation of this board. And so my signal comes out of the HX Stomp stereo out to the front of house, or my mixer, or my interface. So the Mvave essentially is controlling the HX Stomp, but the HX Stomp is already a good MIDI controller by itself. So there's a feature in the HX Stomp called Command Center, and so I can send MIDI messages program changes from the HX Stomp to the H90 instantly. And so what I did for this setup, since I don't have a 2 bottom foot switch here, so I put FS4 and then the tuner here. And then this is my up and down page button inside the HX Stomp. So going back to the H90, it's connected through the HX Stomp FX send. So this is a stereo FX send. So I'm going in the inputs 1 and 2 of the H90, and then out 1 and 2 to the HX Stomp return left and return right. And oh, MIDI cables, I have this cable here. It's a tier S mini cable that I have a headphone adapter plugged in. And then the other end is a 5-pin MIDI cable that goes to the MIDI in of the HX Stomp. And then the MIDI out goes from the HX Stomp to the MIDI in of the Eventide H90 here. So MIDI is also one of the things that I considered when I'm building a board. So again, power, audio, the third is MIDI, and then the fourth, if I need to, I worry about the USB hubs. So the reason for the USB hub is that the HX Stomp and H90 both have their own software computer editor. And so if you have a hub and then you connect both of them to that hub, essentially you only have one USB cable going to your computer. Then I also want to mention about the DC cable adapter that I used here. So you can see I've used a green one here for both the HX Stomp and the Eventide H90. And so both of these devices, they need a 2.5 to 5.5 millimeter hollow plug. And generally, Powersupplies outputs 2.1 to 5.5 millimeter hollow plugs. So you need this adapter for you to connect them to your power supply. And one other thing for the H90, I also have a red adapter underneath my board. So this is a center positive pedal. So you can see here the middle C is facing the positive sign. So that's when you know your pedal is center positive. So you can see on the HX Stomp, the C is facing the negative sign. So this is center negative. So straight from your power supply going to this one, no problem. But for the H90, since it's center positive, you need a red plug adapter. So I have the red adapter here. So that converts from your power supply center negative to center positive when it hits this adapter here. And then it goes to that barrel adapter so that you can connect it to your H90. So taking you to the product pages in Thomann for the adapters that I discussed here. So first, again, it's the doubler cable. So essentially, it combines two outputs from your power supply into one output. So I combined two 500 milliampere outputs from the Falken one. And so this can now output 1000 milliamp. Then the second adapter is the converter one. So it converts from 2.1 5.5 milliampere hollow plug to 2.5 5.5 millimeter hollow plug. So again, the HX Stomp and the H90 has a 2.5 to 5.5 millimeter socket. So you need this adapter cable. And then the last cable is the polarity converter. So this adapter here converts from center negative on your typical power supply to center positive that the H90 needs. And then at the bottom, I also stuck a LED light here. I think this is blue, I think this is red. So just to show that this is truly battery powered. So I don't have anything plugged in here at the moment. So this is the on switch here. So when I turn it on, so this is what it looks like when it's all powered up. For the LED lights, those are just the Harley Benton spaceship pedalboard LED lights. So they're fixed. So if you buy the red one, it can only output red. And so what I did was I combined the blue and the red. So in the middle, it becomes a bit purplish. So I think which is a cool effect. In Thomann, there's also an RGB LED strip from Rockboard. So you can change the colors by using this control switch here. Just note that the stickers on the LED lights doesn't stick that much. So what I used was kind of like a fabric tape that is sticky on both ends. And so that now sticks in securely at the bottom of my board. And so this is just a short rig run through video. I'll show sound samples and functionalities and how everything works together on a future video. So if you're interested in that, hit subscribe and I'll see you on the next one. Happy New Year.